You're listening to Hashtag No Filter with Zack Peter. That's me, your naturally platinum blonde pop culture connoisseur. I'm the reality TV junkie, self-improvement addict, and host with only the hottest tea spilled fresh weekly. For more hot takes, go and give me a follow at Just Plain Zack. I always keep it funny and I always keep it cute. And this weekend, I was fighting with some of the trolls on Twitter and on Instagram and in the DM. So don't play with me, bitches. I'm in a good mood this week. If you don't give a shit about me and you just want to keep up with all the latest reality tea, then go and give us a follow at No Filter with Zack, because we're always spilling it fresh over there. Or you can always join our private Facebook group. The link is in the description below. It is Liddy City Summer, and I hope you've got some Liddy City No Filter wine. Packing a punch at 13% alcohol by volume, but less than a gram of sugar. It is I call it my Housewives watching wine, but it's the No Filter wine. Inspired by some of our favorite, most iconic Housewives moments. We have one inspired by Beverly Hills, Salt Lake City, Atlanta, and New Jersey. Today I have out Cut Down My Drinking or What? Inspired by the Ice Queen herself, Erika Jayne. You can stock up now at nofilterwine.com. Must be 21 or older to order, and drink responsibly. Get Liddy City, but have a little fun, all right? Go to nofilterwine.com right now. We've got so much to break down. We have Ultimate Girls Trip that is finally out, season 2. I can't wait to dive into it. And I know I said we're in Liddy City Summer, but I also feel like Hot Guy Summer is in full effect, because today's guests they're double the trouble, and they have some opinions that I don't think any of us saw coming. They didn't ask to be brought into the Bravo world, but after checking out their Instagram content, you're going to be real glad that they did. Please welcome the hosts of the BravBros Podcast, Steele and Shooter.
What's up, everybody? We're super excited to be here. I am Steele.
Shooter over here. Glad to be here. Very happy to be here. And we hope you guys like what we have to say.
We're excited to give you the takes.
We'll see. If they don't like what you have to say, they will let you know in the comments. So
looking forward to
hear. So you guys do have a podcast, and you are two very married, very straight bros. How did you get into the world of Bravo, where you're like, we're just going to do a whole podcast where we dive into all of the shenanigans from Erika Jayne to Dorinda Medley? Like, what about the Bravo world hooked you?
Well, I guess it all started for me during the pandemic. I was in a relationship. She's my wife now. We were dating at the time, but we ran out of shit to watch. So she started to kind of rehash the whole Bravo catalog. And she started out with Vanderpump. And for like the first 2 days, she was going through like season 1, like she went way back. And I wasn't paying attention. I was just it was on in the background. I'm like, oh, whatever, it's Bravo. Like, I'm not watching that. And I would start to hear some things come out of the TV. Like, Jax was on, and like that was classic Jax back then. And he was still with Stassi, so they're going through their stuff. And just the things that they would say to each other would kind of catch my ear. I'm like, what the fuck? What did they just say? Like, what did he say to her? Like, he can't say that to her. Like, what did she say back? So you slowly start to kind of get some interest. Like, it piqued my interest because I couldn't believe people would talk to each other like that. Next thing I know, I watch a couple episodes. Next thing I know, I'm hooked on Vanderpump, and my wife's not even at the house, and I'm catching up on all the seasons because I got nothing but time during the quarantine.
Yeah.
And, to the point where now, like, I've decided to rock my Tom Tom hat for this, because I became such a Sandoval and Schwartz fan that when they opened Tom Tom, I had to get some of their swag. But that's how it started for me.
Have you been to Tom Tom?
No. We wanted to go when I was out there, but it was closed.
That's a bummer. What about you, Shooter? How did you end up getting hooked on Bravo?
Definitely very similar to Steele. I like to reference the angry dad standing in the corner, kind of watching, but not really watching. He's pissed off that it's on TV. There's no sports on. Like, what are you guys watching? I don't want to watch any of that. But then he knows a little bit more. And that was me pretty much during pandemic and thereafter when I moved in with my girlfriend, just kind of watching all the different Housewives. I knew all of them before, like, I even realized it. I was on a first name basis with all of them. And I even had my own takes. My girlfriend's like, have you been watching without me? I'm like, no, definitely not. Just, keeping up on the message boards here and there, but nothing too crazy. And she's like, what the hell happened? And then to kind of go with what Steele said, we found ourselves at parties when the girls would go talk about their shows. the guys, the boyfriends, the husbands were all talking about the same shows.
Yeah.
And it starts off as a joke, and then you get into a real heated discussion about, well, I agree with Carl. I don't agree with Amanda in this situation, and Kyle's out there, and we're all over the place, and people are really having heated discussions, and it's a bunch of guys just talking about it. We're like, we can do a podcast about this, and here we are. Honestly, that was as easy as that.
Yeah, Shooter actually texted me because we would go back and forth. Kind of, my wife would sit there and text her girlfriends like, "Oh my God, did you see whatever show we were watching?" Like, "Oh, did you see what Kyle said?" or whatever. But I would be talking to Shooter doing the same thing. Like, "Yo, dude, did you see that shit? Like, that's unbelievable." He'd be like, "Oh yeah, she sucks." And so he actually texted me, like, his girlfriend Colleen mentioned to him, "You guys should start a podcast." And he mentioned that to me. And I kind of loved it. I was like, I mean, it's a very unique take as far as in the Bravo world goes. Like, you listen to the podcast,
right?
Two bros shooting the shit about Bravo is not really being covered. So I was like, you know what, this could be kind of great. And we went for it. We did the first episode. We had a blast doing it. And then, here we are.
Who's your favorite housewife?
Ooh.
You want to start, or you want me to take this one, Steele?
You go first. I got to sift through like three.
Oh man. I love Sutton, actually.
Sutton.
I think she's brought such a great dynamic to Beverly Hills. I thought Beverly Hills started to get a little stale. Sutton came in, she started saying a lot of dumb shit, and I love her for TV.
Okay. Sutton's been on this show. What about you?
I think I'm gonna have to go with my girl Kyle. It was between Kyle and Rinna, and I loved Kyle because she's seemingly the most genuine, in my opinion. I think that she's actually a good person. I think she stirs the pot for sure, as we see over and over again. She does like to, even when there's no drama being caused, she will insert herself and kind of poke the bear.
Yeah.
But overall, I think that she's the realest one of them all, in my opinion. And then it was close second was Rinna, just because I had a crush on Rinna, like, growing up. Like, I loved her before I even knew she was on the Housewives, just because I thought she was hot. So, have
you seen all her naked photos that she's been posting on Instagram lately from Diana Jenkins' book?
I just read the captions. I don't look at them.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
I love it. I love Rinna. I mean, she brings the heat every single season, and she takes the heat every single season that, you got to give props. I do love Kyle,
how I feel.
And I'm liking, and I'm starting to like Sutton a lot more. I liked Sutton at the beginning, and then last season I was kind of annoyed by Sutton, and then I'm starting to like the dynamic between her and Erica this season.
It is good to see that the two of them are actually having real adult conversations again. We'll see if it keeps up, but I do really enjoy that the two of them are starting to grow a little bit of a dynamic.
Yeah.
So we go back and forth about Sutton all the time. I can't stand Sutton. Like, she to my core just irritates me. Like, the shit she says, and I think Diana put it perfectly when she said she's clumsy with words, which, I mean, also, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. But it's like, push comes to shove, and she has to say something and respond. And it's like, whatever you do, Sutton, don't say this. Yeah. And she'll say exactly what I'm thinking. Like, don't say that. And then she'll say it. And you're like, God damn it. Like, why do I have to watch this every week? But to Shooter's point, I am, and to your point as well, I'm appreciating the relationship between her and Erica starting to develop more, because I'm getting tired of, we're seeing this in multiple franchises. It's a lot of the same shit just getting thrown back and forth again. I'm tired of them going back and forth about, Erica being a liar or not. Like, it's last year. Let's move on. So the fact that they're now like kikiing over, Tinder or whatever Sutton's dating life is, like, I am happy to watch that. So I guess I'm enjoying her more, but not a big fan.
Fair. What are you guys thinking of Ultimate Girls Trip Season 2? It just dropped on Peacock. It's available now. First 3 episodes are out. We get 1 episode weekly moving forward every Thursday. But based off of the first 3, what would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'll go first on this one. I didn't have very high expectations for it because I just saw the cast and I was like, I don't know how this is going to work out, but it has really delivered. I'm giving it an 8.5. I don't know if we're going half point scales here, but I'll go 8.5 on that because I'm really enjoying it. And I really like the fact that they brought these, Steele and I referred to them as kind of like the island of misfit toys. They brought these women back, threw them in a house together and said, here you go, have a show. And it worked pretty well. And I think Dorinda's an incredible host and she kind of makes that run. And I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, I'm giving it an 8.5.
Okay, Steele.
I think 8.5 is a very valid rating. Given the recent franchises, how they've been performing, I would give this one, just because of the timing, like a 9.1. Like, this is the stuff that I want to see on Housewives. And it's like
0.1?
9.1. What's your fucking problem? A 9.1.
It's not just a 9. There's a little bit more than just a 9, but a
little,
lot less than just
better.
A 10.
Exactly. Right. So I think that this is kind of what I've been craving, just the outlandish, over the top comments that no one really apologizes for. Like, I get frustrated watching Beverly Hills this season because it feels like they're, instead of focusing on like who can take the better jab, they're focusing on like who gets more upset and like, oh, well, this triggers me and like this upsets me. And like, everybody wants some kind of resolve where it's like the Housewives of the past, like, you don't apologize for shit. You say what's on your mind and you stand by it no matter what. Like, that's the end all be all. And Shooter and I talked about on our last episode, it feels like this season of Ultimate Girls Trip is almost like The Bachelor in Paradise. Like, this is their chance to kind of recapture and recaptivate some audiences. And I'm excited because they seem to be bringing their A game. Like, every girl there is kind of understands like, oh, I'm back on TV again. I need to show why I should stay on TV. And some of them are absolutely crushing it. Like, Phaedra has been electric. And some of them are falling flat. Like, Brandy's trying, but she's making those, like, she is a disaster. And Vicky is evil. Like, I forgot about how much I hated Vicky until she opened her mouth one time. And I was like, here we go. Like, flashbacks.
Yeah. I cannot stand Vicky. I just think she's like not enjoyable to watch. You know, she's like fatiguing and it hurts. She's obnoxious. She's a hypochondriac. I disagree with you on Brandi Glanville, though. I think Brandi Glanville is the MVP of this season because usually the one everyone's gunning for is the one that's carrying the show. Dorinda, I think, thought was going to be the star of Ultimate Girls Trip, and she's very clearly not the star because you have Brandi Glanville stealing every scene, you have Phaedra killing it in the confessionals, and then you have Eva that I'm surprised even, came as this nice breath of fresh air that's also providing this good sort of balance, but she has that, that other side to her where, Brandi calls her husband a mangina, and she's just like, I'm the one your mama warned you about. Don't play with me. You know what I mean? First of all, would you be offended if anyone called you a mangina?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Really?
That's the lowest of the low, I think.
Really? Of all the things you can be called, mangina's the worst?
We'll have to draw up a list at some point to see what we actually think.
If you read the things people say about me on the internet, I would be glad to be called a mangina.
That's fair enough.
That's fair.
So what? Okay, but Shooter, what do you think about Brandi Glanville? I think she's carrying it.
I think she's carrying it as well. I really like her. My girlfriend finds her annoying, but I think she's harboring past resentment on Brandi, whereas I didn't have that because I didn't watch when she was on. So she's a new character to me. I read up on her before Ultimate Girls Trip, and I went into it with open expectations, and I really enjoy her. I think she's funny. I think, that first episode, she was overly sexual, like constantly, but it was in a funny way. Yeah. Like the way that when Dorinda was cracking those lobsters, and she's like, something about those juices just flying everywhere that really turns me on. We're all like, why? It's, but it's still funny. And then you get the dynamic with Phaedra, and now she's befriending Eva. So I actually think that she's doing a great job. Whereas Dorinda, like you said, has kind of pushed a little bit back into the shadows a little bit, even though she's the host. So I think I'm opposite of Steele on this one. I really like Brandi.
I like Brandi. I like Phaedra. I like Eva. I'm surprisingly refreshed with Taylor as well, and kind of like her willingness to talk to Brandy, but also she has her cat moment at the table where she snaps at Brandy. Jill Zarin, I think, is completely the biggest flop on the cast right now. She's really not bringing anything. She doesn't mesh with these women. She doesn't have any chemistry with them. She's not building any sort of relationships with them. She's not giving us anything funny in the confessionals. Like, she, I think, is the biggest flop. And Vicky's just the most annoying. I think Tamara is in Vicky's shadow, so we're not really seeing much from her. But it's hard, like when you're going in with the OGs, or not the OGs, but like an all-star cast like this, you know, I think these women were able to shine because they had other people that were able to be the protagonist to their antagonist. Whereas in this case, everybody comes in and they're all the villains of their show. And so, you know, they are getting overshadowed because some of these women like Brandi Glanville just get drunk and say outrageous shit.
Yeah. And I think, let me backpedal a little bit. I think Brandy's been fun to watch. I get irritated with her because like I can't follow along with, like, she's so out of left field. Everything she says, it's like, what the hell are we talking about now? But she has been great, just like the mangina comment, for example. And then I think, here we go. This is why she pissed me off. When she was going into it with Taylor and talking about how that was the worst year of her life. Like, what are you talking about? How on earth can you talk to the widow of the man and say that it was the worst year of your life because of that? Like, the tone deafness of her, like, it really genuinely frustrated me. But I do think that she moves the show forward. Like, she's definitely giving some great one-liners and she's stirring the pot. And to what you said, I love Eva. I think she is kind of the sleeper that came out of nowhere because her confessionals are relatable and funny. She's quick, she's down to earth, but you saw, like, I thought she was going to be kind of copacetic with everybody the whole time, trying to keep the peace. But if you come at her or you come at her family, like, she'll clap back. Like, and not only that, what was funny with her, like when Brandy told Vicky to shut the fuck up for the umpteenth time. And Vicky's like, you're not going to talk to me like that. But I'm like, Vicky, what are you going to do? You're not going to do shit. When Eva says it, I'm like, I would not fuck with her. Like,
no.
She means it.
She's not the one. Yeah.
No, she's not the one.
That was funny, though, when they were in the kitchen, Vicky and Brandy, and Vicky's like, you're not going to talk to me like that. Like, you need to promise me you're not going to talk to me like that again. And Brandy's like, I can't promise you that.
No.
She's like,
why would you promise that? Yeah.
The thing with Brandy is I feel like she is very tone deaf, yes. And she doesn't, like, in her head, in her world, that was the worst year of her life, yes. But she doesn't realize we don't all just live in Brandy's world, you know? And so I think that's where she kind of misses the mark. I still find her wildly entertaining. What I like about her, though, is she's willing to... I don't think she's grown that much. But I think she's so willing to just throw herself on the table and just be consumed by, you know, anyone. I mean that many. You can take that many different ways.
Literally, and figuratively.
Yes.
Devoured by everybody.
Yes, and I mean, CC Denise Richards. But I think with Brandy, she's so willing to just take it, you know, the good, the bad. She'll slip up. She doesn't think before she acts. I think she's very just impulsive and just says stupid shit, and it comes from a genuine place. I don't think she's as calculated as people want to think that she is. I don't think she's that smart. So I just think she just says things and doesn't think about it, but she takes whatever beating comes her way as a result of it.
I agree with that. I just think like every time she gets in a conversation with somebody, she always intros, and it's always after she's done something stupid and now she's pissed off somebody. The first thing she says, I love all of you. Like, I really love you. I want to develop and I want to have a relationship with you. Yeah. And then she just says something insulting or doesn't understand why on earth they would be mad at her. She's like, and I believe you. I agree with you guys. Like, she genuinely doesn't know she's doing anything wrong. Yeah. She's sitting there like, what did I do? It's like, well, you called her husband a mangina and said that was shocking that he wasn't. But her focus in that moment is like, no, I said he wasn't a mangina. Like, that's a compliment. It's like, no, the implication alone was an insult.
Right.
But she's like, no. So I agree to some extent, but I'm not totally on Brandy's team.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll flip by next week, I'm sure. We'll get you to flip over.
Yeah, probably. Hey.
I'm curious to see how they all kind of gel, because right now it's such like a disjointed group, and they don't have the same chemistry that I think season 1's cast had, all like the OG All-Stars. I really liked their dynamic. I think I would have liked to see more of that, like, real raw we had it with Taylor and Eva, but in season 1 I feel like a lot of them got to break that fourth wall and talk about their shows and kind of just get real and get to know each other in those earlier days, whereas these women came in and it came in really hot, and I think it's going to be the opposite, where it's going to take them a little more time, that by the end of the trip we'll probably get more of those conversations and they'll build that chemistry together. I think the second season cast they all have too big of egos. Like when Eva met Vicky and she's like, I'm such a fan, and Vicky's like, I've never even heard of her. Like she's like, I have a fan in the house. So I'm curious.
You think
to see
she'd
how
reach out and be like, oh my God, somebody likes me. Like,
no, she has no. What did she say? She said, bless your heart. Like,
Yeah.
that's not
Bless
thank you
your heart.
or anything. Yeah.
Which is
I
that's
think-
so
Zack,
condescending.
I think in her head, people really do love her. She's the OG of the Housewives in her head.
Yeah, that's true. But Zack, what do you think? Do you think that Jill's ever going to deliver, or do you think that she's just going to be a dud the whole season?
I think she's going to be a dud the whole season. I think she's in, the ocean with a bunch of sharks, and she's a dolphin, she's swimming, but she's kind of just going to be skirting through. I don't think she's really going to have a moment. I just think she doesn't have a strong enough personality in this group of women. She doesn't have any connection to any of them. Her and Dorinda, you can tell, even though they have history, they don't really like each other.
Right.
And I just think she also missed a whole day. She missed the first day where they all kind of got a chance to connect and meet each other. So she's coming in late. She's also coming in after they've already had a couple of, sparring matches. So I just think, I don't know. I don't think she's going to be that great. I think she's still stuck in that. When did Housewives come out? Like 2007, 2008, or
Yeah.
she's still
Right.
stuck
Yeah.
in. She's still stuck in that formula of what made a great housewife good back then.
Right.
Where you can just kind of be fabulous and sell things, and I think she's still. That's probably why she's not on
Walking
Housewives current.
QVC.
Yeah, she hasn't grown into what today's housewives are.
It is a real
I
shame
think
too,
that-
because they built her up in that first episode where Dorinda was doing her flow chart, which, by the way, we loved that flow chart.
Yes.
Because I would love a flow chart for every one of those shows, because it shows you all the past things that have happened and this and that and whatever. But when Dorinda was going through that, she put Jill up in the corner and said, and we've got our special guest, Jill, who will come in like a mystery guest. They build her up to be this like powerhouse to come in, and she just fell flat immediately. And you're like, that sucks.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of like a setup. I think that's how Jill's going to be this whole season. I think that her intro into the group was exactly what we can expect out of her. Like, she thinks she gets the surprise shirt from like Scary Island to reenact that whole thing. And she thinks it's this big deal that everyone still remembers and talks about. She comes in surprise, and every single housewife there, other than Dorinda, doesn't even make a sound. They just sit there like, and Eva goes, who is that? Like, I don't know who that is. Like, that's where we're at with Jill. And she's on this other like planet where she's like, surprise, bitches, you've been waiting, and I'm back. It's like,
Yeah.
no one cares.
Yeah, the ego on this cast, I think, is wild compared to the first season.
I do too. And I think that a lot of that might have to do with, in the first season, we saw some current members, some of the heavy hitters. So they
don't have to try too hard.
Yeah.
Right. And like they're rehearsed, like they've been filming recently, whereas now you've got some women that haven't been on the screen in, 7 years, I think Tamara says. So I think there's going to be a grace period that we need to give some of them, where they're getting used to being in front of the camera. They got to figure out, how they're going to shape their own storyline, so to speak. But I do think you can tell which ones are going to be, the all-stars this year. But I do think that there's still some room for improvement.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it all kind of plays out. I'm looking forward to it. I think the first 3 episodes were good. I would just like to see more of like a storyline or something that kind of drives the show over the next few episodes. But
What would you rate it? We rated it. What's your rating?
I think I would give it a solid 8. 8 with potential to grow. I like it. I think it's good. I think an 8 for a few different reasons. I think, first of all, the song, the opening credit song is fucking awful. I need more housewives in the island, baby. Housewives in, like, I would wake up singing that, and I couldn't get it out of my head. I couldn't even hum the tune of season 2. I think the graphics this season are a little cheap. I hate the ugly green color that all the text is in. Dorinda, I think they are pimping her out to be much more of like an anchor or like, someone leading the show, and she's really kind of lost that. The chemistry isn't quite there between the women, but my prediction is that it will build as they all kind of tame down and get to know each other. The drama will continue to always be there, but I think the chemistry will forge as we get later into the season. But I think it was a good start. I think I enjoyed that we had some drama. We had some good levity. Like Phaedra is really carrying it, but also so is Brandy and the lesbian eyebrows. Like, the things that these women say sometimes are just like so outlandish.
But then she doubles down. To Brandy's credit, like, she will not back off because she, again, doesn't understand. It's like, you cannot tell that from somebody's eyebrows. She's like, I can.
Yeah.
Like, how? Like, okay, well, describe it. They're all different. What do you? So
She's
you
like,
can pinpoint a lesbian eyebrow.
I see it. Yeah. Everybody at home was looking at their eyebrows in the mirror and trying to be like, do I have lesbian eyebrows?
I looked at Shooter and I was like, hey, do I have lesbian eyebrows?
You have lesbian eyebrows. I will tell you
I think you do, honestly.
You have lesbian eyebrows.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. All right.
All right. Would you rather have lesbian eyebrows or be called a mangina?
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
I would rather have lesbian eyebrows.
Same. Yeah.
I would rather have lesbian eyebrows because I think some lesbians have great eyebrows.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
I think lesbians have better eyebrows sometimes than some guys. Like some guys' eyebrows are just not there.
No, I honestly, well, I realized somewhat recently that I had an issue there. So I actually I plucked them with tweezers now.
There you go.
Just right here. But I only do it by, yeah.
You can get the little strip.
Oh yeah.
I'm not above it. I would do it. Yeah. Who am I kidding?
We'll get you to go to get a threading done by the end of the season.
I'll do it next week.
Threading is the
for
good
our show. I have to shave for a mustache next week. Let me get your opinion on this.
Oh God.
So, Shh, you shush. All right. So I've been told that I resemble slightly Miles Teller.
Okay.
And with Miles obviously in the headlines recently, I'm going to shave into a mustache like he is in Top Gun 2, and we're taking polls to see if I look like Miles Teller. Now, your unbiased opinion, this is your first time meeting us. Can you see is there any Miles Teller here? Because then he has to call me Rooster for a whole show.
I did't see it until you mentioned it. I mean, there's a
work with that.
There's like there's a vibe there. There's a vibe there.
I'll take that.
Okay.
I'll take that. Thank you very much.
You can be like a Miles Teller's cousin.
I'll take that. Absolutely.
We're gonna let the YouTube comments decide. Guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, weigh in right now, whether you're watching it in the live chat or you're watching it in the comments below, replay crew, weigh in and let us know, is this a Miles Teller vibe?
Yeah, let me know. I would love to know, and let Shooter know especially.
Jesus, no.
We'll even put up an Instagram poll too. We'll get a photo of you and a side by side, and we'll let people vote.
Oh wow!
I appreciate the help. Thank you so much.
And then that'll really
make or break your week.
It will. Yeah, we'll know. And then you got to call me Rooster if Zack's following, if they say I look like Miles Teller, then you have to call me Rooster for a month.
A month? Wow, the stakes have just risen.
Fine. It's not gonna happen.
I like my odds.
With your lesbian eyebrows.
Okay, I do need to know what you guys think of this Rinna versus Denise sort of versus Garcelle as well. So we saw this last week on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills that Garcelle has revealed that she invited Denise Richards to her birthday party and that Denise is supposed to be coming to the birthday party. Spoiler alert, guys, Denise does not come to the birthday party. Denise doesn't show up. Once again, she leaves Garcelle hanging. So, Denise is a real good friend. But Garcelle keeps her around. Well, at dinner, Rinna then reveals that she sent Denise Richards a text message to apologize and kind of let bygones be bygones. Garcelle then says in her confessional that she texted Denise to see if Rinna really reached out to her, and Denise's response was when. So Denise and Garcelle, I think, were being a little shady, and Rinna dropped the actual text message thread on her Instagram account to prove that she did, in fact, text Denise, and Denise did reply. What are your thoughts about her reaching out to Denise and Garcelle kind of not letting the mouse go?
I thought it was at the time, I thought that Denise's text back to Garcelle was ambiguous enough that it left it up for us to make an opinion on.
Intentionally.
Of course, intentionally, which, Garcelle does that. And I mean, so does Denise. But when I heard that, I said, I don't think she texted her at all. Steele had a different opinion on this, I believe, but I didn't think she texted her at all. And it's funny enough because I did some digging into after Rinna posted that text message, and various articles were always referring to it as the supposed screenshot, meaning that they were even thinking maybe she doctored this stuff because Denise isn't really going to attest to this or come back later. So I don't really know what to think about that. I could see it going both ways. If I had to push one way or another, I would say, yeah, I think Rinna probably reached out because it seemed genuine.
Denise goes both ways too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, she does. She's with Brandy, actually.
OnlyFans, actually, right?
Yes. Would either of you subscribe to Denise Richards' OnlyFans?
I think we'd have to do it for research purposes. Yeah,
$25 a month. It's a pretty steep OnlyFans price.
I'm sure she has some interesting recipes. And
is
stuff.
Denise worth $25 a month to subscribe to her bikini content?
No.
It's already out there. She's already in Playboy. What do we need to pay $25 a month for?
That's fair. Okay. At risk of pissing my wife off here. Here's the thing. So Denise, from us growing up, this is in my head, she will always and forever be Wild Things Denise.
Yeah.
Okay. Because of that, is she worth $25 to see her premium content? Yes. Because of Wild Things alone, and in the place that holds in my heart, she's worth $25.
Yeah, I'm sure it's holding just a place in your heart. It's the only place the blood.
Only for the research and the captions.
Okay, so back to the Garcelle and Denise piece. I think it was intentionally, vague, and the waters were made to be a little murky to kind of make it seem like Rinna didn't text. I always believed that Rinna sent the text message. I just think people don't give Rinna the benefit of the doubt enough because it's more fun to hate her than it is to actually, throw a dog a bone. But I think, we know confessionals are taped way after the fact, and Garcelle didn't text Denise until she was sitting in her confessional, which was weeks, maybe even months after they filmed that scene in Mexico. And that was already sometime after Rinna sent the text message to Denise. So to me, I'm like, she probably meant when, because if Garcelle's asking her in real time, she's probably thinking that it was a recent text message that Garcelle is asking about. And she had, at that point, I'm sure, texted her months ago because, again, the confessionals are filmed much later than the actual scenes themselves. So I think she meant when, because maybe she was referencing that she thought Garcelle was referring to a more recent text message, but I think they also were both being shady in the sense that they knew that this would make Rinna look like a liar, and they weren't technically wrong, but they don't technically hate the idea of making Rinna look like a liar.
Yeah, and I think that's always gonna. It's just a layup, right? That's Garcelle can stir the pot a little bit, and Garcelle, as we know, she's calculated and she's good at starting shit without being the aggressor. Seemingly, she just likes to slide in and kind of push the narrative forward, but then she steps back and allows it to kind of unfold in front of her, which I I've loved that about it. I think she is the MVP so far this season, in my opinion. I think Garcelle's been outstanding. But when it comes to the Rinna and Denise thing, I always imagined that they would eventually reconnect. The one thing I will credit with Rinna, she speaks off the cuff a lot and she gets herself in trouble with her mouth. But after a couple of years have gone by, and you readdress some of the things that she's fucked up on. Like she was on Watch What Happens Live and they did like the no regrets thing, or if she should apologize for stuff she's done in the past. She apologized for, I think, 90% of it. Like she usually sees the error in her ways eventually. So because of that, like I always imagined that at some point she would bite the bullet and be like, all right, I was kind of an asshole to Denise during this whole Brandy interaction last season or whatever, whenever that was. But for Garcelle to go in there and then throw in that wrench, I thought maybe, here's what I thought. So maybe Denise and Rinna now are kind of like reconnecting a little bit and maybe they're starting to become friends again. Garcelle knows this and Denise didn't go to Garcelle's birthday party. So maybe they're kind of having some issues, or maybe she's a little pissed off that Denise and Rinna are reconnecting, and now she doesn't want that to happen because she'll lose her friendship with Denise or not be as close to her. So maybe it's a jealousy thing. I don't know. And maybe we'll see that play out. But I'm keeping my eye on all three of them. That's what I'm doing this year.
I don't think Denise is a good friend. Yeah, I don't think Denise is a good friend, and I think that's why she didn't show up to the birthday party. I think she's never been a good friend. Like, listen, Rinna and Erica technically promoted Garcelle's book better than any of Garcelle's friends. Denise couldn't even put out a tweet or an Instagram story. That's
and I think that the way that Garcelle's been this whole season is like she's always appropriately blunt. Like she asks the questions that we're all wondering, like about Diana's book. Like, hey, Diana, let's get back into that. And Diana says, well, we've already talked about this. No, we actually didn't. And she's like reiterating what I feel like the viewers are thinking. So that's why I think Garcelle's been so important to the show this year, because we're getting so much more out of these women than we maybe would have without her being there. And I feel like that's super important to the show. And that being said, I don't think, I think I like Steele's crazy spin on this one, that maybe Garcelle's jealous of Rinna and Denise's blooming friendship once again, but
probably
it could be. Yeah. I think like what Zack said, that Denise is just a terrible, terrible friend. And you can't really read into it any more than just the fact that she's just a really bad friend.
Which also like makes you think that maybe, her and that Rinna and Denise, maybe their friendship wasn't as strong as we thought that it was originally. I don't know. But I think when it comes to Garcelle, yes, you're right. She is very good at kind of moving the pieces on the board. It's very LVP. That's what Lisa used to do. She used to kind of control the narratives, and that's when they, accused her of being manipulative. And I think Garcelle's very much filled that role, and I think she does a great job of it, because you kind of need somebody to pull some of the strings and move certain storylines along. My only issue with Garcelle is sometimes I feel like it's disingenuous because she's just playing to the audience, because she knows the audience will like her better if she does something. I think there's some placating going on. So I think we do need someone like an LVP to keep, what does Sonia Morgan say? The straw that stirs the drink. We need someone that can kind of keep the pieces all kind of flowing and moving together. But to me, there are moments where it doesn't seem honest. It seems like she's trying to play a producer role, and it's disingenuous. And all the women have had moments where they do that. I think Garcelle just holds it down a little more consistently.
That's fair. Yeah,
I agree with that. I think, in my opinion, for this season, I think Garcelle's seeing an opportunity where she's like, no one else is really stepping up this year. We don't have that. Like, Crystal's storyline stinks. Crystal stinks. Like, she's a dud, in my opinion. I can't stand watching that shit anymore. We went through the Dorit drama and she tried to bring that up every episode and tried to be the main focus. That floundered. So I think Garcelle has kind of found herself in a good spot where she sees that she can make a move and really become kind of the main presence this season. So is she pandering a little bit? Yeah, for sure. Like, she's definitely understanding that she can win more hearts this way by just saying what we're all thinking. But can I fault her for that? For kind of like trying to steal the limelight when it's, hers to take? Yeah. Like, it's her thing to lose at this point. So I respect the hustle. I do think that she goes a little too far sometimes, but I can respect what she's trying to do.
Yeah. She's trying. She's not a pretty mess this season. Erica is really
No.
letting it all hang out.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this is the year of Erica Jane. I love it.
I'm loving Erica this season too. I think she's really just giving us everything. And from what I've heard of what we're going to be getting more of later this season, I hear that something did happen at Garcelle's birthday party. I'm curious if it'll actually air on the show, and if it doesn't, then maybe I'll talk about it. But I have to wait and see what's actually going to air from the birthday party. But Erica is literally just no fucks given. How many fucks does she give? 0, 0, none, not one. She's putting it all out there, and I'm loving it. I think it's hilarious.
It is really funny. She's a pleasure to watch this year.
And like we talked about it kind of leading into it. I hated Erica Jane with a passion last year, and I think most people did. Obviously, like it was a tough season for her. She was obviously going through a lot. Now, whether she's trying to take the focus off of her this year, and like that's why she's not talking about any of her stuff, or if she is genuinely moving on from it, I don't really care either way. Because what she's bringing to the table right now is stellar TV. When she was lit on the boat, and, you know, like, I don't need Celine Dion to sing my swan song. She's dropping all these great one-liners and talking about pulling up for a foursome. Like, oh, what kind of Uber is it? Doesn't matter. The pussy's there. Like,
right? I mean, and how happy would Rob be? That's like on Orange County when Noella was like, I gave my husband a stack of vaginas, 3 of them, and that was his birthday present. And here we are. Rob is like, I mean, Rob, I'm sure is going to love it.
I'll tell you exactly what happened when that episode aired in his house. He was looking at her out of the corner of his eye like, oh, that'd be crazy, right? And trying to gauge to see if she'd be like kind of into it.
How crazy she thinks it would be.
Yeah. He was definitely like, oh, we'd never, right?
There's no chance in hell that Crystal would ever. No, Erica went after like the most uncomfortable person on that boat. Yeah. Like Crystal was even uncomfortable taking like her cover up off.
Yeah.
And then getting in the water and getting away from all the cameras. So there's no chance in hell that she would ever let that happen.
No.
Do you think she would have a threesome with Diana if Diana asked?
Crystal or Erica?
Crystal. Erica, obviously. Erica would have a threesome with anybody at this point. Yeah. She just wants to get dick down, according to her.
Yeah. And she wants them big,
Crystal
too.
Would? Mm-hmm.
For Diana, yeah, I think she'd make an exception.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it the way she licks her lips?
I think, yeah, the way she licks her lips, it's so funny. It drives me crazy. But
all the time she's not.
That's what Shooter pointed out. Yeah, the first time she was on, he's like, why does she lick her lips all the time? I was like, I don't know.
I get fixated on one thing, and I just like, I can't move past it. I'm like, there it is again. Look. But yeah, no, I think she'd make an exception for Diana, mostly because I think she's, at this point, maybe a little afraid to lose Diana as a friend, because that's kind of all she has left, really, after her whole shitstorm.
Yeah, I think Diana would be down for it.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure Diana's got a couple of... she's a madam. She's got a couple other on her super yacht probably that she could bring into it.
Right? Mm-hmm. Let's live that up. Allegedly. There's an OnlyFans.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Wait, and
Diana's super yacht.
I do have to give a shout out to Erica Jane because in addition to getting a shout out from the Brav Bros on Instagram promoting the wine, I did also get a shout out from the Ice Queen herself who got the wine.
Or what? Thank you to my friend Zack. No filter with Zack. Cut down my drinking or what?
A promotion from Erica Jane herself.
Oh my God. Wow. That's
of the Or wine.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Listen.
I saw that story actually. I was clicking through my feed and I was like, oh shit. Like that's really cool. She's holding her own wine pretty much and saying a catchphrase.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you ever imagine that you'd have Erica Jane?
No. I mean, especially because like I've sent so many of the Housewives wine. Like I want them to fucking promote it, but they rarely do. I think Sheena Shea just posted my wine right now too. She just tagged me in a story. But Erica Jane, that one was like because it's an actual housewife that is inspired that specific wine, and she did a full shout out, a tag, a mention. I'm her friend Zack now.
Damn
Love
right.
that.
The year of Erica Jane. She mentioned you during the year of Erica Jane. So that's like a double whammy winning.
Yeah, becomes the year of Zack Peter. Here we are.
I know.
Hey.
Calling all my fellow bosses. Are you ready to start dating up? Because I just finished Christine Quinn's new book, How to Be a Boss Bitch. You know her from Selling Sunset. She's basically the queen of Selling Sunset. Well, in her new book, she shares her top 9 rules to claim your power and elevate your dating life. And so, while I'm giving a shout out to this week's sponsor, which is Seeking.com, I figured I would pick my top 5 and share them with you so that we can date up together. Rule number 1, never settle. The queen of Selling Sunset, Christine Quinn, never settles. So why should you? Christine says that you need to set the bar high for what you should expect from a partner. Know your worth and never settle for comfortable. Why? Because you deserve amazing. Rule number 2, never sacrifice what you value most. For her, that was independence and freedom. Those were the most important things to her. She needed to have her own identity in a relationship, so sacrificing that was just not an option. And I agree. I want my own freedom. I want my own independence. So never sacrifice for what you value most. Rule number 3, be honest about what you eventually want. Right out the gate, she told her husband on the first date that she was looking for something serious. Be upfront and be bold. Otherwise, you're just wasting time if your goals won't align. I know for me, I like to come out the gate. I'm like, look, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. Sometimes that can come off a little intimidating. But listen, if you're going to be intimidated by me, then I don't think you should be dating me because I'm a prize. I'm $1 million diamond. Okay. Rule number 8, I love, end up with someone who sees all of your value. You're a true prize, okay? And your true prince or Princess Charming, whichever floats your boat. Either way, Seeking.com is friendly for both, friendly for all, welcoming for everyone. So your true charming prince or princess is someone that sees your value. They see the value in you, and they see that you are something to be honored, and they're your biggest champion. They're right there on the sidelines cheering you on. It's someone that gives you the same admiration that you already give to yourself. Because remember, we know our own value, and we just need somebody that can see it as well and that's going to respect that. Okay? Rule number 9, which is the last on my top 5, write your own love story, okay? Like your Taylor Swift out there. Write your own love story. Christine says, there's no one right way to find love. Only the way that feels truly right and authentic to you. So do you find your true match? There you have it. Are you ready to start dating up? Because it sounds like it's time to start seeking. If you want to join Seeking.com, head over to Seeking.com now. Set up your profile. You can customize what it is that you're looking for in a partner and get going. It's a summer of love, guys, and I'm ready to find a real solid match, and I know you are too. So if you want to join me, head over to Seeking.com right now. It's an elite dating site for attractive and successful singles that are ready for that elevated dating experience. So go to Seeking.com right now. Do you think that this will be the year of Kyle Richards? Because her family is now getting a spinoff on Netflix. Mauricio, Farrah, Alexia, they've sold buying Beverly Hills to Netflix, seemingly coming for that Selling Sunset spot.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys going to watch
They're
it?
going to be great.
Yeah?
I love Mauricio. Let me preface it this way, actually. I love Mauricio. I think he's going to be great. But I feel like Netflix as a whole is kind of floundering.
Yeah.
And they're losing a ton of market share to places like Hulu, who has like killed it with the Kardashians and so on. I just don't think that Netflix is the move. They're going to fill that Selling Sunset role. But I mean, how many real estate shows have been on Netflix that just flopped after 4 or 5 episodes? Like, get it out of here. I hope it doesn't happen. I love Mauricio, but I could see it happening. Not
even just real estate shows, but I think a lot of their unscripted shows, like some of them are good. Like I like Selling Sunset's good. Bling Empire's good. I think Selling Sunset is going to start to tank now that they're about to lose Christine Quinn. But I don't know. Maybe unscripted isn't the genre for Netflix. Like, I don't think people go to Netflix. Like, for me, if I'm going to do something unscripted, it's going to be Hulu because Hulu's really pushing themselves forward. And they did great with the Kardashians. Or it's going to be Peacock. Peacock, I think, is really, leaning into the next era of what Bravo will be. So NBC's, shining with that. But like look at Apple TV, like their strengths are in scripted and these big, stars in these shows. I think Netflix just needs to find out what their identity is going to be. And right now they're just putting so much out there and a lot of it's flopping. And maybe they're just in that phase of let's throw everything at the wall and see what sticks.
I think what they had going for them is they had all of the money in the world. They were, for so long, especially like peak pandemic, they could push whatever they wanted out because everybody's watching every single day. So they're making money. Their stock price is going up. So now they're just, like you said, throwing shit at the wall and hope it sticks. I don't think that, like when I think Netflix, I think old TV shows and movies. I don't think about reality TV like you said. So I think that being said, when you bring in somebody like Mauricio and, with the name attached to him, like people know Kyle, right? So I think that is your best play as far as trying to bring reality.
That's what
to
Peacock
Netflix.
did. They brought reality stars that already were established over to the network, and that's what got us hooked. And at first I was like, I don't want to fucking sign up for Peacock. What is this bullshit? I was pissed. And now I fucking love Peacock. And now I love Peacock. And I love Ultimate Girls Trip and mashup series. And
Well, do you think that Mauricio went to Peacock originally? Like, I want to know the inner workings of how this show came about because he was interested in doing it. I guess Kyle probably backed it a little. And why didn't they go to Peacock instead of Netflix?
I think they did go to Peacock. I think they did because Ultimate Girls Trip was they went to Turks and Caicos, right? So the house that they filmed at was one of Mauricio's, like the agency's listings. So I think there were preliminary conversations, and that's probably why he offered up that house in the Turks and Caicos for them to use to film so that he can build that relationship with them. And they probably just weren't interested. They were probably like, we don't want to do a real estate show. Like, this doesn't seem exciting to us. And then they missed the boat because then I'm sure Mauricio, being a businessman, went and sold it to Netflix. Or there could have been a bidding war.
I think it's more going to be for the daughter, to be honest. I think he's going to be a good presence in it, but I feel like it's a good way to get the daughter's names more out there as opposed to, doing their own thing on Bravo, doing their own thing if they pop up on Housewives. But getting them kind of started out there. I think that's probably his true intention for this.
Do you think that this is the first step towards Kyle leaving Beverly Hills Housewives?
Yeah.
Because, here, she's, I thought it was hilarious when Lisa Rinna is like, Kyle, you are in the #1 movie in America. And I'm like, because it's Halloween, the franchise. It was released on Halloween, and it had fucking Jamie Lee Curtis, who's the original, the Neve Campbell of, Scream. That's
Halloween series.
Yeah, like Kyle Richards was not the reason that it was the #1 movie in America. Like, if anything, Kyle was just lucky to be part of it.
Do you think that's why Sutton went to Chucky season 2? To try to match Kyle?
God. I completely forgot about that.
I have not. I got to mark the mic.
When is that coming out? When is that coming out?
I think in the fall.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure in the fall.
But
apparently the show's got good reviews too. I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't
played movies.
I haven't seen it, but Chucky's gotten good reviews. People seem to really like it. I think that this is the first step for her to kind of exit. She doesn't need it anymore. She did it for so long. I think at this point she's reached that like Bethany Frankel sort of successful enough to not need to be on the show. Her husband's company is doing fine. They have money.
They made $30 billion last year.
Yeah, like she doesn't need the money at this point. I don't even think she needs the star, like the fame or publicity from it, because again, if she's in the #1 movie in America, like she's pretty solid. And if her family has a reality show, she can dip in on that and like have those moments without having to be fully submersed in all of the drama, especially because we're going to see her versus Kathy and the Kathy versus Rinna and Erica stuff at the end of the season, that I'm sure that type of family drama is just no longer exciting.
It probably wears her down too.
Yeah,
I bet it takes a toll. And also with, we already talked about with the Peacock kind of set up where we're getting Ultimate Girls matchups, and we're getting, if Kyle takes a step back from the main franchise, there's clearly going to be opportunities to bring her back in, when she wants to. So now you kind of get the best of both worlds. She can dip her toe into the Netflix series with her family, or, Ultimate Girls Trip season 8. Like, oh, Kyle's here on this one. Like, I think that with more opportunities to be in and out, then I think that we're starting to see a transition for out, but I would say at least 2 more years. I don't think she's gone before that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see her
that.
sticking. And I think it's smart. I actually think maybe 2 more seasons. And I think she should dip out because I think Housewives, I've already predicted in 5 years, Housewives is going to be dead. It'll probably still be on the air, but it's going to be like dead,
It's fading.
It's fading.
It does seem to be fading.
Dubai flopped. Like people were
Dubai's
so
it's
excited.
So boring.
People were so excited about Dubai, and it is not good at all. It is boring. It is just, there's no interest in these women. There's no chemistry between these women, really. It's just not anything that I look forward to.
We talked about it a lot. They leaned on it so much to try to get you excited about like the allure of Dubai, like this crazy place where everything's so expensive and lavish and luxurious. And after one episode, it's like, okay, we get it. Yeah, shit's really expensive and nice there. What are these women fighting about? Why don't they like each other? What's the chemistry? What's their history? And you start to get into it. And it's all just kind of surface level petty stuff that they're clearly just trying to poke
Make drama.
each other somehow, right? But there's nothing that really lands. The only bright spot, honestly, is Ion. I think that she's great for TV, but we're going to end up losing her because I don't think Dubai's going to stick around.
No, I don't think Dubai's going to stick around.
Not.
Which sucks because this was Caroline Stanbury's big chance to come back, and I don't think it's going to last.
She's phoning it in. She doesn't
looks
care.
The same. I feel the same way about Diana as I do about Caroline. Like, why are you on this show? It doesn't seem like you want to be here. You're not really doing anything. You're not talking to anyone. You're physically removing yourself from other situations. Like, why are you even on this show?
Yeah.
If this was supposed to be your big comeback, and it doesn't really make any sense to me.
Now the real debate: who is the queen of Beverly Hills, Lisa Vanderpump or Kyle Richards?
Kyle
I was
Richards.
going to say Kyle. I'm going to say Lisa.
Really,
Oh,
Lisa?
fuck you.
Yeah, I think Lisa's still behind the scenes. We don't hear as much about her. She's not right in front of the camera as much, but she's pulling some fucking strings somewhere.
She's pulling Garcelle's strings.
Maybe. I
She
like
might
that.
be.
That's a good
I
one.
like that too.
I could actually see that, only because we know Garcelle keeps trying to forge this friendship between Lisa. I think Garcelle wants Lisa, Sutton, Denise, like the 4 of them to eventually take over Beverly Hills.
I don't think
I
they
like
can
that
take
one.
it over.
I don't think they
But if you
can.
bring all of them in, if they're all on the show at the same time as the other women, I watch that. Kick Diana off and bring them in.
Yeah. Okay, I know you guys are big Vanderpump fans too. What do you think of Harry Jowsey sliding into Lala Kent's DMs?
So I had to do some research and kind of dive into this one so I could speak on it. I watched the interaction between the two. She went on this podcast, happened.
Yeah.
And there was definitely some tension there. He was like, "Oh, are we flirting right now?" She's like, "Oh, I don't know. Are we?" Like, haha. I think so. I guess this guy's just sexual about everything he says. Like every single word out of the interview I watched, where he's like doing the DMs on E.
Yeah.
He's like, he takes his takes his shirt off. He goes, "Oh, I'm more comfortable with my shirt off." It's
Yeah.
like, okay, whatever. But then he starts going through his DMs, and he said the slide in was, "Let me know when you can fit me into your tight schedule, and I'll do the rest." Like,
Crazy.
But to his credit, she responded like, I think she said like, "I'll let you know." Like it was a good response.
Yeah.
Like she was into the idea of it. So understanding what I do about Harry, I don't know much about him. He does seem like he just wants to, as Erica puts it, like she just wants to give some D. He's looking for some D appointments to hand out.
Lay the pipe.
He just wants to lay the pipe a little bit. And given what Lala's been through with Randall and like all of I feel for her. I think that my stance on her has changed so much over the years watching Vanderpump. I used to really like her. Then I saw the mean girl side come out, and then watching her, I don't like Sheena. I don't like Brock that much. But that being said, when she's going after Brock over and over again. She's like, this guy, like, Randall would never do this. Randall would never do that. Randall this, Randall that. Come to find out, Randall's doing all of it. You know, like, he's a terrible guy behind the scenes, and he's cheating on you while you're pregnant. He's cheating on you while you're at home with your daughter. Like, all these terrible things.
Yeah.
That kind of changed my opinion of her. But she went through so much. I'm giving her some grace here. Like, you know what? That guy looks like you show her a good time. She probably needs a good time. I think it works. I think, why don't they go? That would be one of those couples that fucks up Hollywood for a little while. Like, they'll burn some shit down, everyone's gonna watch, and then they're gonna fade off into the sunset, and we might get another, like, crazy trial. Who knows? Like, this could all be good for TV. We'll find out later.
There you go. Well, to be fair, I'll go on the opposite side of this one. I'll focus more on Harry. I don't give two shits about Harry Jowsey. I had the unfortunate, I guess, pleasure of watching Too Hot to Handle. I don't know if you watched that, Steele, but
I didn't watch it.
I couldn't stand him on that. I couldn't stand any of the girls. I couldn't stand really anyone on that show. And then he, comes out after that show and he's all over the place. I'm like, get this guy off my TikTok, get this guy off my Instagram. I don't want to see him. He's annoying. He's got one trick, and it's, I'm going to take my shirt off and just see what happens.
Yeah.
And
that happens frequently.
Yeah,
all the
he
time.
does it every fucking time. Yeah, like anytime I see him. But anyway,
not every time, because I'm disappointed that he came on my show and didn't. He was in studio too and did not take his shirt off.
Oh, really? He was on your show,
fuck, Zach?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't take his shirt off for you?
No. Now I need to actually be like, you need to come back so that you can take my take his shirt off.
Or take your shirt off, or both.
Listen, he definitely has the energy, and I don't think him and Lala were flirting. He just has a very flirty personality. So he and I were even flirty, but like, obviously nothing was going to come of that. But I think he just has that type of personality. And I know I also have that type of personality, and I think Lala's the same way.
I like that too. And as far as the two of them go, completely fine with that, because I do actually think they're relatively a good match. Just for what you said, they're both very flirty.
Yeah.
Seems like they want to have a good time, so let them go at it. The one thing that I love about a story about Harry Jowsey was when he reached out to Haley Steinfeld, and she just responded with no. And then later she asked about it. She's like, I don't know. I don't want anything to do with him. No, absolutely not. I thought that was really funny, and he took that pretty well too. Yeah. He changed my opinion on him a little bit there, where he's like, I had to try, whatever. Like,
no, dude, that's just because he's a fuckboy and he shoots so many shots that he's gonna get turned down. Like, that's why he just brushed it off. That wasn't like a shining moment for him. That was just.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was a good response, but whatever. But no, they're two consenting adults. Let them go at it. I like it.
I think she needs some good young Harry Jowsey dick. Like, I think that would be. Well, I mean, but the hard thing is, I feel like, because Harry's what, 24? I mean, I guess he has a lot of sex. So I guess if you have a lot of sex, like, I just feel like in your early 20s, like, nobody's really good at sex. But I guess if you're having a lot of it, like, maybe you're learning a little quicker. You're taking a crash course.
But here's the thing. I don't know if he's going to be running that show anyway. Like, if him and Lala hook up, he might not have to do much. She's going to be like, look, and sit his ass down and show him what's what.
Listen, Lala's the type of woman that knows what she likes and knows what she wants, and was in a relationship with a guy that wasn't able to sexually fulfill her. We saw it. She did the vibrator promotions where she shaded Randall, and you know what? That's her bad for staying in that relationship. But listen, sometimes the money is better than the dick, and I don't hate her for that. But she's now in a place where she knows what she wants, she knows what she needs, and I think she can use Harry Jowsey like a vibrator, and I think he would be totally fine with that.
And I think they need to start an OnlyFans.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
He
has $25 a month for that.
He has an OnlyFans. She should do a collab. That should be her entry into OnlyFans. He doesn't reveal anything on his OnlyFans, though. I did subscribe for, as you said, research purposes when he was coming on the podcast.
Yeah. And we research all sorts of things.
Yeah, you have to. It's a write-off. And so it's disappointing. It's no more than what you get on Instagram. It's what Denise Richards, I'm sure, is going to do.
Good to know.
We'll find out.
We'll find out about Denise.
We will find out.
How do you feel about
Lala and Randall? I mean, Lala and Harry. Yeah,
and Harry.
Yeah, I think she should definitely let him hit it. He might not be stellar, but she knows what she wants, and I'm pretty sure she knows how to tell him what buttons to push, and I'm sure I think he likes being told what to do. Not that he listens, but I think he likes a power play. I like a good power
Like,
play in bed.
dynamic.
Yeah. I like a good
I can see that. I also think that if it's not going well, she would easily be like, fuck this, get out. I don't think she'd have a hard time like putting her foot down, be like, this, you suck, this sucks, get the fuck off me and get out.
And then blast the story on her podcast.
Oh yeah, and then just crucify him the next day. Like, oh, he was terrible at sex, and now his whole
That would be the end of Harry. Yep.
His whole
that's all he's got.
His brand is done.
Yeah, he's got no D. He does not have that BDE, so he's whacked. See you later, pal.
Bye. Oh my God. Thank you guys so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having us.
Where can people follow you, subscribe to you, and support Brav Bros?
So you can follow us on Instagram at Brav_Bros. It's the same on Twitter at Brav_Bros. You can follow me at SteelRussell13 on Instagram. And we are on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Anchor, and then I think pretty much every major streaming platform. So give us a listen, a follow, whatever you can. Like I said, we're just starting out, but we're having a lot of fun with it. This is fucking awesome. So
yeah, this is incredible. Yeah, and if you want to follow me, it's at Shooter Magooter. I do the majority of the live tweeting during the shows. So if you see that pop through, that's probably me and my thoughts, completely unfiltered. But we're having a lot of fun with this, and we had a lot of fun today with Zack.
Thank you, guys. Everyone, go follow Steel and Shooter. Go listen to the Brav Bros podcast. They're great, and they are only going to deliver more premium content. So go and give them some love, show them some support. I saw your Instagram and the muscles and the gym stuff. Like, the ladies are going to be drooling over that. So guys, go and give them some love on the Instagram. Thank you guys so much for coming and chatting with me and talking Housewives.
Thank you for having us.
So much, Zack.
I appreciate. Okay, you gave me your best housewife. Who would you say is the worst housewife, or your least favorite housewife, to close it out? Steel?
Shooter? Oh, okay, me. The worst housewife is Vicky Gunvalson.
Oh.
Period. Hands down, no fucking debate.
Are we doing of all time or current?
I'll let you choose.
That was my all-time and current.
Same.
All time and current? All right, that's fair. Right now, I'm going to go with Teresa because she's driving me crazy.
Really?
Yeah, I like that one. I fucking
These
love
are
that
some
one.
hot takes. Oh my God. Go follow Brav Bros. Subscribe to their podcast, and leave them a good review on Apple, because we love and appreciate those reviews. You can leave me a good review because I love that validation. If you want to keep up with me, you can follow me at JustPlainZack on the Instagram, or if you don't give a shit about me but you give a shit about the reality tea, go and follow at No Filter with Zack on the Instagram. Join our private Facebook group. Get some No Filter wine at nofilterwine.com. 13% alcohol by volume, less than a gram of sugar, so you will get Liddy City, but you won't have that gnarly wine headache. All right, guys, love you, appreciate you, and I will talk to you later this week. Bye.